Greetings all, my name is JD from Studio 2105. Welcome back to Direct Access MixStream and a brand new episode of Weekly Update Wednesdays. In this week's video, we're going to take a look at a question of rendering MIDI parts into audio before mixing. It's good to be back in the studio. I was away for about a week on holiday with the family, but I did have some content, pre-recorded for you. Hopefully you enjoyed those videos. If you are new to this channel, a warm welcome to you. A big shout out as usual to all the patrons who help to support the channel financially. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do head on down and click on the subscribe button. Don't forget, click on the notification bell as well, so that you don't miss out on any of the content that I put out. Do sign up for the email list, and if you want to become a patron, head on down to the website below, www.patreon.com/studio2105 for more info. Does the quality improve if I render a VST instrument in MIDI to audio before mixing? The short answer is no, at least not in the digital domain. See, from a quality point of view, it makes no difference. One of the biggest misconceptions, of what MIDI is that it contains sound. MIDI, which is short for Musical Instrument Digital Interface, is a set of coded signals that instructs an instrument, be it hardware or, in this case of your question, a software VST instrument, to perform a particular gesture or an action. For example, you start a note, you bend its pitch, you release a note, etc. Now, if you want to find out a little bit more, if you want to learn in greater detail, I actually did a video, This is one of the modules from the Direct Access Music Production Workshop. You check it out here. So if it makes no difference to the audio quality, why do people why do people recommend that you render or you export your MIDI parts to audio? Here are the three main reasons. Number one, freeing up system resources. VST instruments take up CPU power and RAM. In some more complex drum VSTs and the orchestral sample libraries may have patches, that are several gigabytes in size. Now, if you're working on a project that's using a lot of instruments, you find that it's going to quickly drain your system unless you've got a very, very well spec'd, pretty much a top of the line computer. Rendering those MIDI parts, to audio tracks will allow you to free up all those resources and then allowing you to load more plugins, more effects, and gives you generally better performance. So for example, if you're, even if you're drawing automation, if you got a lot more RAM, you have a lot more CPU resources available, the overall experience of working on the DAW is a lot more smoother, especially when it comes to the mixing stage. Of course, if your system is able to handle the load, you can still process a VST instrument, a MIDI part, with your EQ, your compression. You can add all your effects, your reverbs, delays as usual, because in most DAWs, at least in Cubase it does, when it's a MIDI or an instrument channel, it's treated the same way as an audio channel. You can do the exact same things. You can insert plugins, you can send auxes, and so on and so forth. Having said that, this is reason number two: future-proofing your projects. Now imagine in 10 years time, your client comes back to you and asks for the tracks, perhaps maybe it's a new distribution format or something else. Maybe they want to do a different remix version, and then you realize that soft synth, that synthesizer that you were using is no longer compatible with your current OS, operating system, or perhaps the developer is already no longer around and the plugin just no longer exists for the matter. In that case, if you have rendered it to audio, you still have those audio files to fall back on. Software, operating systems gets updated. Some older VSTIs may become obsolete and are no longer compatible with whatever's the latest OS. But audio files are going to be future-proof, Be it WAV or AIFF. Having those audio files are going to ensure that you will always have a working version of the mix. Now, the first two reasons I talked about are practical in nature But the last and this final one is, in my opinion, right, the most important for the mindset and the workflow of a producer or mixer. Number 3, commit to the sound. Pairing the parts in MIDI, right, means that the arrangement is technically, right, still in a state of flux. Right, the ability to go back and make little changes here and there can, and I'm pretty sure it will affect things later on down the line. Changing a note, maybe you change a chord voicing, you adjust a synth patch, it may result in some of your production decisions that were made later on by having to be changed and altered as well. And if you're not careful, you will end up in the vicious cycle of constantly tweaking things here and there. You see, one of the hallmarks of a great producer is having a vision. This means being able to visualize the final product from both, right, the sonic and also the artistic point of view, but also knowing, right, what is the best way to arrive at that point. Learning to commit to sounds is an exercise that helps to remove things such as self-doubt, insecurity, and ultimately it trains you, right, to make better recording and better production decisions, making you a better engineer, a better producer, a better mixer overall. It's a concept that applies also to all the areas of music production. Even when it comes to recording, for example, you want to commit to a drum sound, you select the right snare, you select the appropriate cymbals for that, right? You tune the kit for the song. And then we talk about bass and guitar. You use the right type of bass, you write the right type of guitar with the right set of pickups, into the correct amp, and use the finding the right tone. All of these things, right, committing to sounds, committing to tones, really is there to sharpen your skill as a producer and as an engineer. And this is why I feel that this third reason, committing to sounds, right, committing MIDI parts to an audio track really helps you to grow, right, and make you a better producer and better engineer overall. So there you go, 3 reasons why I think it is really important and it is a good practice and a good habit to render and to export all your MIDI parts that come from maybe a virtual instrument, right, or a sample library down to audio. Thank you so much for your question. Once again, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave your feedback. Please leave your questions down right in the comments below. If you found this video useful and informative, please do leave a like down below. Do share this with your friends. And if you're not yet a subscriber, remember, please do click on the subscribe button. See you in another video real soon. Stay safe, stay happy and healthy. Happy recording and mixing. Peace, love, and music.